Welcome to the Gearing Roles, Gender and Entrepreneurship presentation by the Centre for Diversity, Policy, Research and Practice at Oxford Brookes University. Research on gender and entrepreneurship is relatively new. Until the 1970s, gender was widely neglected as a factor, but the 1980s saw the first studies of gender in business, which were largely exploratory and descriptive. This typically concentrated on personal characteristics and developed typologies of women entrepreneurs. By the 1990s, research began to benefit from increased methodological sophistication, a marked shift towards specialised topics such as management styles, access to finance, and impact of networks and support agencies. Since the new millennium, there is a growing body of work which engages with gender as a critical lens rather than simply a characteristic. Research on gender and entrepreneurship has also started to consider much wider contexts, such as spin-outs, social entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial education, motherhood and maternity, and risk. Finally, there is now recognition that women entrepreneurs are not a homogeneous group, and that using a lens of intersectionality is important to take into account their multiple experiences, aspirations, and backgrounds. So, what is research about gender and entrepreneurship telling us? Women are underrepresented as entrepreneurs, and in certain sectors. They are overrepresented in sectors such as retail or personal and business services, but they are underrepresented in sectors such as construction or transport. The sectors in which women are involved are often extensions of stereotypical gender roles. The current discourse of entrepreneurship, for example in academia or the media, continues to convey the idea that entrepreneurship is a masculine activity, establishing a hierarchy of entrepreneurial activities and sectors. Many sectors that women trade in are not perceived as real businesses. Women entrepreneurs tend to work fewer hours in smaller businesses, are more likely to be home-based and have fewer, if any, members of staff. Women are disproportionately more likely to work with other family members, either in partnership or contribution, which is often not recognised formally. Gender plays a big role in when entrepreneurs start their entrepreneurial journeys. Men tend to start their business at a younger age than women. This is likely to reflect time commitments, as women take on the caretaker role in most families. Men have more time to dedicate to working on their startup compared to women. Women's motivations for engaging with entrepreneurship are similar to that of men's in many respects, except for factors such as dissatisfaction with the labour market, need for increased flexibility due to caring duties, and difficulties in re-entering the labour market after a career interruption or a period of leave. Current research focuses on finding barriers to women's entrepreneurship and responding to calls to increase women's entrepreneurial activity rate. Obstacles typically linked to women's experience as entrepreneurs are access to capital and funding, experience and training, family responsibilities, and access to networks. However, when considering barriers, it is important to address structural gender inequalities rather than attempting to fix the woman. Gender affects entrepreneurial experience for both women and men through differences in business and societal expectations on the basis of sex and gender. Women have to confront hostile social attitudes and cultural biases to operate in a masculine business world. The socialisation process of women in childhood, within families and schools, does not always prepare them for entrepreneurship. Learning of traditional feminine roles, such as women socialised to be soft and gentle, and a lack of women role models as entrepreneurs and businesswomen. Gender has also affected research on entrepreneurship itself. Early work focused mainly on personal and business characteristics of entrepreneurs and their psychological traits, which often excluded women. This bias against women entrepreneurs was justified by noting that women were outliers. A masculine bias in entrepreneurship research can be attributed to sexual imperialism. When women were eventually considered as entrepreneurs, theories based on men were assumed to apply equally to women, with little consideration of how entrepreneurship might be gendered in the first place. The masculine characteristics associated with entrepreneurship, seen as a norm, were discussed by Ogba in 2000. He denounces the entrepreneur as reflecting the archetype of a white male hero, presenting the male-female dichotomy in the following terms: male achievement versus female subjugation, male dominance versus female submissiveness, male control versus female appreciation, male autonomy versus female support, male aggression versus female cooperation, male independence versus female dependence, male idiosyncrasy versus female conformity. Entrepreneurs, both male and female, are expected to behave according to the established masculine norms as entrepreneurs. This also implies they are expected to behave according to traditional gender roles in the home. Stereotyping entrepreneurs excludes women by the very fact they are traditionally responsible for the care of the home, children, or other dependent adults. There are 3 key challenges identified for women entrepreneurs. 1. Market misperceptions. Women entrepreneurs' competences and market knowledge are routinely disregarded, and the sectors in which they venture are often not taken seriously or seen as soft sectors with limited growth potential. 2. Network exclusion. Women entrepreneurs often experience limited access to established social and business networks, which creates less access to knowledgeable mentors and capital expansion. And 3. Expanding whilst underfunded. Limited access to capital creates challenges such as constraints on funding for recruitment, access to new markets, research and development, and overall business expansion. So, how can we help women entrepreneurs? We need to address stereotypes about what entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship looks like, promoting an inclusive approach. We need to learn from each other about the best ways to build successful businesses and vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystems that are inclusive. And we need to increase awareness about the challenges that women face and lobby key influences, such as venture capitalists, banks, and entrepreneurial networks, to challenge these unconscious biases. Thank you.